Hello, Enid. I'm Derek Silas, the Director of Communications for the City of Enid, and with me today is Assistant City Manager, Scott Morris. Thank you for coming today.
You bet. Thanks, Derek.
Okay. We're going to give you an update on just what's going on related to COVID-19. This week, the City Council will meet in the study session and council meeting coming up Thursday. Could you tell us what's going to be on the agenda for that?
Sure. Each May we have a series of budget meetings that we go through to prepare for the next fiscal year. And this Thursday on our budget meeting, we'll be going through all of our capital improvement projects. And so that includes all of the street repairs, water line repairs, the big ticket items that we're going to be working on as far as infrastructure, new buildings, things like that. So there's a little over $15 million worth of projects that we're going to be looking at and explaining to the mayor and commissioners so that they know what we're going to be working on next year, and they can ask questions, and if other people have questions about those projects, they can ask questions. And then we will also have a chance on that agenda for the mayor and commissioners to ask any questions about the other topics that have gone through on the last few meetings. And then on next Tuesday, on the 19th, we'll bring back a final version of our budget for the next fiscal year, starting next July, and for approval for the mayor and commissioners to give. So this Thursday is, again, just a look at the big projects and a last chance for questions before the 19th meeting.
Okay. Very good. And you said on the 19th, coming up on the 19th, there will be another meeting. Let's talk about that. Let's fast forward to the 19th, May 19th.
Sure.
Tell us some of the agenda items for that particular meeting.
So before the meeting, there's a study session, and what we'll have on the study session will be, we'll talk about accessory buildings. So if you ever want to build a shop or a shed in your backyard, usually there are limitations and rules about what size buildings you can build based on the size of your lot, and stormwater provisions that we may have in our ordinance. And so we'll be talking about possible updates to our accessory building ordinance. We'll talk about our golf rate fees at Meadow Lake Golf Course. So we're going to be changing some of those up, and then we'll hit up a small change that we may have with a solid waste ordinance in relation to billing polycarts or dumpsters. And it isn't really so much of a change in price, it's just a who can be billed for what clarification. I can get into these individually. I'm sure we might want to do that. But and then something very exciting for our community, we're going to be talking about a brand new skate park that's being built in Enid on Broadway and 5th. And we have found a few vendors that have given us some great ideas and plans already. And we'll be presenting that to the park board tomorrow, and then on the 19th in front of the mayor and commissioners, and hopefully we'll get a contract signed for design on that new skate park on the 19th and be moving ahead on that, possibly have a new skate park in Enid built as early as November of this year. So working hard on that. Those are some of the study session ideas, and then the main meeting will have other things like a possible CMAR contract for Call Lake, the budget discussion. There will be several other things like that. CDBG, final budget and approval on the 19th. So those are all of the community-funded plans that get some federal government access and funding through administered by the city. So a lot of things going on Tuesday the 19th.
Okay. So May seems to be budget month here.
Oh, yeah.
So let's talk about going back to the 14th, which is this Thursday.
Yes.
The budget hearing. That will just be one meeting. And what time does that meeting start and the location?
Thursday, the budget meeting is 5 p.m. and you can watch on Zoom. There is a Zoom link that will be out on that, and it's on our website. We'll put it on the agenda when it gets published. And the council chambers are open. It will be at City Hall in the council chambers at 5 o'clock on Tuesday.
Okay.
Or Thursday, the 14th.
Yes, Thursday. We just want to remind the residents that the meetings, the commission meetings are live streamed on Facebook, on this channel, on this page, that is, City of Enid, Oklahoma's government page. We also on our YouTube, City of Enid's YouTube page, or you could go directly to the website, click on the meeting, and you'll get to our interface there. So you don't have to necessarily be on the actual Zoom meeting unless you want to do public comments. And then you have to sign up. Actually, there's a form. It'll be enid.org/public comments in case you want to speak directly about the budget. You can sign up that way. Okay, so speaking of the budget, I know it takes a lot of work each year to develop the budget and to try to foresee how the economy will be within the next year. Could you tell me what the impact has been on the budget as far as COVID-19?
Sure. Obviously, there are retail sectors that have lost some of their income, and that all translates down into sales tax. So we have, we've got sales tax that comes in that we depend on. That's a large chunk of our budget. Many of you don't realize this, but Oklahoma is one of the last states in the United States that relies almost solely on sales tax to make our budget. And so we have to really consider that. Sales tax, we project, could be down as much as 10% from our budget last year. And so we're adjusting our budget numbers and trying to be conservative. It's much easier to try to fit a project in that you didn't think you can afford than to try to budget things and then find out you don't have money, because the only thing other than projects we can cut are jobs and employees. And we want to be conservative on how we plan our budget so that we don't have to make those kind of hard cuts and decisions. And so, in addition to the sales tax, hotel motel has been down, as well as even some of our water consumption for some of our businesses. And so those are all things that put income into City of Enid's ability to do projects and to keep moving the ball forward. And so we'll have a more conservative budget for next year, and it will be down some. That's one of the things that they'll be talking about with those CIP projects this Thursday. We may have less CIP projects this year than we did the year before, and those are just taking all of those things into consideration.
Those that may not know what CIP is, what is that?
Those are capital improvement projects. So generally anything costing over than $50,000 on a project. Some of them are several $100,000. So these are improvements to roads. They'll include things like, one of the exciting things going on in Enid that's going to be happening, you'll see more and more progress on, is the Enid Soccer Complex. That is a big project. We have funds this year that are being encumbered for stormwater and transportation, and then we have more funds dedicated next year to help that project come off the ground. And so those are the type of things that are involved in the capital improvement project things we have going on.
And just reminding everyone, the meeting this Thursday at 5 p.m. will be a budget hearing. And if you want to sign up for comments, the form, the enid.org/public comments form will go live the day that the agenda goes live. It's not live right now. If you go to it now, you probably won't see, you'll see the old one. So it won't go live until the actual agenda. So because we want you to put what you want to talk about actually on there. So that's why it's not live. Okay, so another question would be, can you briefly tell us about, well, we know right now we're in phase 1, right? Okay. So tell us a little bit about the changes that will probably take place in phase 2.
Phase 2, so right now, if you have a little league, soccer and baseball, we've allowed some of those teams to start practicing. And if the trending continues down like it has been, I think right now we're at 20 cases in Enid and I think 22 COVID-19 cases in the county. Those are continuing to keep a nice trend where we're not experiencing a blow up at this moment. And so if things continue on that trend, June 1 there'll be tournaments and sporting events that can happen. I've got a list right here. Several other things: movie theaters, arcades, racing, bowling leagues, golf tournaments, concerts, trade shows, and conventions can open, and bars can reopen, and child nursery areas and religious services can reopen. And I think, the original had funerals and weddings, but we've already made an amendment to allow those to happen now. That's not really a part of phase 2 at the time. So.
Okay. Despite the large amount of testing being done, it seems that the numbers, like you said, are very low. We have 20 in Enid, 22 in Garfield County, and 11 of those recovered. So will the city of Enid, the mayor, the commissioners reconsider shortening the phase if it continues?
That is a great question. I do know that the mayor and commissioners are accepting input, and they look forward to hearing from citizens and their concerns. And so if you've got concerns or ideas about things, please contact your mayor, commissioners. Gerald and I will listen and take those and pass those on as well. But yes, they are considering the possibility of possibly shortening the phases or possibly changing what businesses are considered in phase 1 and phase 2. So they're listening. But at this time, phase 2 is still scheduled to begin on June 1st.
And the next 2 meetings will be May 14th, which is this Thursday, and then we have May 19th, correct?
Yes.
So there may be a chance for they discuss that in those.
There could be. There could be. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Are there any other updates concerning COVID, or did you want to talk more specifically about those ordinances?
Just real quickly for the study session next week, the golf ordinance that we have going on there, that's really just an update on some pricing, and it's not they aren't huge fee increases. They're really designed more for the players and the golf pro tenants to have a little easier time. They'll take some of the they'll make the dollar amounts more even, so there's less change that has to be put out and things like that. Okay. Let's see, we had the accessory building ordinance, like I started to talk about with shops and things like that, sheds. There are a couple of different plans that are going to be discussed, different sizes that we may change our ordinance to allow. And so that's a little too technical to try to get into without showing you all the details on the ordinance, but that's what's going to go on. And then again, like I talked about the solid waste ordinance, we have an ordinance that basically says, hey, if you have a water meter, we want you to have trash pickup. We don't want you using your neighbor's trash. You need to have your own trash service. And it should be a polycart. We don't want you to have a commercial dumpster at your house so that your neighbor has to listen to the trash truck backing up to the container at 2 o'clock in the morning. There are ordinances that we have for that, but there are a couple instances where there could be some exceptions that the ordinance does not allow for now. Very few, but there are a few, and we're wanting to make those changes to make the right call for those few customers and give a little more flexibility and freedom to do the right thing. So those are what those are about. And then again, an exciting thing with the skate park coming up. That's going to be a great little review of what's happening and what some of the possibilities are, and really looking forward to that. So they'll get an update on the 19th for that. Yeah.
Thank you. Well, thank you, Enid, for joining us today for this update to see about what's going on in city business and as far as the COVID-19. We appreciate everyone in the community for joining forces together to make this place a better place. So join us next time. This Friday, we intend to have Garfield County Health Department at 1:30 p.m. And each Monday, we'll get an update from city management and or the mayor. So thank you and have a good day.